Good morning. It is April 14th, 2017, and we have decided to take a long weekend vacation, if you will. We are in Richmond, Virginia. It's about 110, 116 miles from our house in Fairfax, but this is the South, that's right. And this is also famous for being the heart of the Confederacy, the heartland of the Confederacy. And you'll never guess where we are right now. We are at the Confederate White House where Jefferson Davis, President of the Confederacy, lived and directed the war. Amazing. And there's the Confederate White House. Now, we are standing in an area in front of the White House called the White House Garden. Now, what's interesting about this is it's a rather small enclosed area, and next to it is the Museum of the Confederacy. I believe it is the Museum of the Civil War, and a hospital. But this is really a beautiful building because you can imagine how it looked in the mid-1800s before the war began. And it's sort of interesting in that it looks like it could use a paint job. This is really, really cool though. I don't know anything about the railing or the steps, but here we are. And as you can see next door, the Museum of the Confederacy. There you go. White House of the Confederacy, built in 1818.
This is what paints. They just painted
Tell us why you're here.
My parents made me.
Your parents made you? But this is history. You like history, don't you? All right, I just spoke with one of the tour guides, and these are the original steps. And what's interesting also is that this is really the backyard. This is the back of the White House. So these beautiful columns, it's all the back side. Jefferson Davis and his guests all entered from the opposite side, but these are the original steps. And this area going down here, this was not here before, and that door back there, that was a wall, so that's an add-on. So this is the back of the White House. All right, I've come around on the other side. So this is the front of the Confederate White House. Rather simple looking, but back in the day when this home was built and this was a neighborhood, it really just consisted of a lot of houses. I see an older brick building here. I'm not sure what this is, but from historical accounts, this area really wasn't all that attractive. So they had a nice simple entrance there, as you can see, but on the other side they had the great columns. So very interesting when you compare to a lot of the other southern homes for the period. But the house is really in pretty good shape. I think, say generally speaking, has a lot of authentic artifacts from the Civil War area, and from what I understand, about 75% of what's in there actually was in the home when Jefferson Davis was there. So it's unfortunate that we can't take pictures in there, and I didn't want to push any boundaries, but it is what it is. Here's the railing. We've got a white railing on each side of the White House here, and what's interesting is that the place could sure use a paint job, but it'll be interesting when we go inside the museum to find out what the story is. Well. What happened? Is the wood creaking?
I think these are not stable.
That's right, it's old, Emma.
I think I'm gonna get out of here. Hey, one at a time, buddy. One at a time. Not the most important one here.
There's an amazing sense of history here. Now, obviously there's no reason for Richmond to glorify this place, but it's an important part of American history, and it really is incredible to see it just crowded in by this hospital. I see a school of pharmacy over there, that red brick building, and then we have the Museum of the Confederacy and a hospital on the other side.
Wait, that's the Lincoln Memorial. Wait, no, that's the
Emma,
White
look,
House.
That's there it is. Emma, see?
Wait, I was right there.
That's where you were. You were right there. See?
And then you were like right there.
That's right. Now, is that the back or the front?
Back.
That's the back side, right?
Wait, cut.
Oh, cut. Yes, I'm sorry. So here is the White House garden. It is faithfully maintained through the generosity of the President Davis chapter of the United Daughters of the Confederacy. And this is a really neat exhibit here. Look at this beautiful oil painting. This is the last meeting of General Robert E. Lee and General Stonewall Jackson. General Jackson died shortly after this painting was made. But Emma, this is a beautiful painting. Look at that. Okay, we're going to conclude our visit to the museum with just a quick tour of the basement area where they have a lot of fascinating exhibits. Clothing from the Civil War period, the socks they used to wear. Look at this vest. Emma, look at these socks. Wedding stockings, Emma. If you got married, you would wear these. Hats. Emma, here's what the children wear. This is what you would wear. Yeah. And look at that, Emma. If someone in your family died, Emma, that's what you would wear. Look at that. If you were in mourning, look at that bonnet and the gloves. Yeah. Okay, well, we've really enjoyed our visit to the Civil War Museum, to the Jefferson Davis Confederate White House. I know Emma wants to come back tomorrow.
No.
Huh?
That's not true. I'm not going back tomorrow.
I thought you wanted to come back and learn some more history.
No. I will give this place a thumbs down.
Emma, I love it. I give it a thumbs up. Okay, we're now on the 130 tour. That's the good news. The bad news is they're not going to let us take pictures inside. So we're going to have to rely on what we get just on the outside. So this is what you have neighboring this house. You've got this medical center, a school of pharmacy, and here's the house. It's kind of crowded in by this big medical facility. Wraps all the way around it. Pretty shameful. Again, reminds me of what they did in the Alamo in San Antonio. Okay, I'm glad I hung out here just a few extra minutes, but I just learned another piece of history about living on Broad Street here in the mid-1800s. So here you have the front of the Jefferson Davis house, Confederate White House. Beautiful, but again, Broad Street was a mess, muddy, bad. And this sidewalk here used to just be nothing but mud, right? Now, so what is this piece of stone right here, you're probably asking? This is sort of interesting, but a gentleman just came up, and I think he's one of the local historians, and explained it to a school tour group that this is where people would come out of the house. So you'd step down here, and guess what? You get up right here, and this is how you catch the carriage. You step into the carriage. So the mud was so bad, you would just come right here, step up, and the carriage would pull up, and it'd make it a lot easier to start your day without having mud-covered boots. How about that? And this is historic, been here for as long as anybody can remember. Tell us why you're here.
My parents made me.
Your parents made you.